Thank you very much to our special envoy, Tony Loizaga. Thank you everyone for being here, excellencies of the diplomatic corps. Basically, I asked Sec Tony, now Special Envoy Tony, to be the focal point of convergence between the private sector and foreign governments and the NDRRMC and the OCD. I have had 4 years to review the structure and the functions of the NDRRMC and the OCD. And I've come to the conclusion that it's fragmented, it's too ambitious an organization, and it will lead to no purposeful outcome if it continues this way. And so I've given the strict directive that they should concentrate on anticipation and response to those disasters that we can anticipate, to coordinate government response to areas which are affected or which may be affected. And in a sense, that has been happening in connection with other agencies where we are able to preposition needed supplies, and we just go on refilling the supplies. And the next infrastructure needs would be to have strategic inventory areas for perishable items and medicines, so that those do not need to emanate from Manila. But of course, inventory management becomes a challenge. So that's the OCD right now. They should concentrate on that, and they have to deliver those action items to me, of which I monitor very, very well, to structure the role of the OCD as to what they can do and what the NDRRMC law mandates them to do, but they cannot do. The idea of a super agency to handle such a multidisciplinary and a multi-stakeholder and a multi-effect and cost-based phenomenon is not sustainable even in any private sector organization. Basically, my thinking is government can do 3 things here, or 4 things. Number 1 is national infrastructure, which it is supposed to be doing, and which even in the defense space, frankly speaking, leaves much to be desired because of connectivity and weight-bearing loads for the equipment we need. Number 2 is to regulate. And that is something that the NDRRMC fortunately does not do, and of which, being on the other side of the table as you are now, we know the dangers of regulation, particularly by those who have no experience whatsoever in the business chain or in the business cycle. As we know, the favorite saying is the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and I think that for regulation to be effective on the government side, it shouldn't be a cut and paste from any OECD or whatever best practice organization where funding doesn't come in anyway. And the private sector is left to bear with the costs of compliance, which, because of consumer sentiment, you cannot pass on 100%. So regulation, maybe. And lastly will be resilience. On resilience, that is why perhaps we call on you here, because of the experience we all had during the pandemic when I was on the other side of the fence, particularly for those organizations which were mandated by the government to deliver critical services 24/7 a day, such as the banking system and the like. We were left to our own devices to take care of our own for 1.5 years, and that is the reality, right? Knowing this also, and knowing your expertise, even in IT and cyber systems, when the banks were the first ones to be required under Monetary Board Resolution 880 or 808, if I remember, we were the first to invest in those critical technologies on a higher scale and on a more knowledgeable scale before government agencies were able to scale up. So we look to you for leadership in this critical item of risk that we all need to bear with. We need to be a facilitator insofar as the NDRRMC and the OCD is concerned, for you to continue your vital services at a time when we need it most, and that is when an earthquake happens. And I think I canalize my role to that, how we can help you, how we can have structured engagements and partnerships with you, not partnerships left and right, just for the sake of ACGR's ASEAN corporate governance scoreboards, which we have to contend with every year. Unfortunately, I don't have to anymore. And that is where we want to structure our engagement to a sustainable one, a purposive one, and one with definitive outcomes. That is all I ask, and that is all I expect from our conference today. Delivering results. And by the way, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of ideas, government is 100% creative on that. But in project execution, I think you know the scorecard, right? Which cannot survive in the private sector because of the risk we take. Financial risk, reputational risk, and the rest of the risks that governments do not face. So, given this fact, I think I have made what I expect clear and what I'm willing to devote time to clear. And I thank Secretary Tony and Secretary Solidum for being here today in this important conference and for taking a lot of the burden off from the NDRRMC and the OCD in this. Thank you and good morning.